The Art Beat, a weekly program putting you in touch with artists and arts events from the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech University. Hello, and welcome to this week's Art Beat. I'm your host, Peter Martins, and I have the pleasure of being here this week with two members of the Texas Tech School of Music faculty, Dr. Alan Zabriskie, who's the Director of Choral Studies, and also Dr. Corey Sullivan, who's the Associate Director of Choral Studies and also oversees the Choral Music Education program in the School of Music. So we're thrilled to be able to talk to them about the choral program and about some upcoming performances today. So I'd like to start by just asking you two gentlemen to tell us about the ensembles that you spend time in front of every week.
I have the great opportunity to conduct two choirs through the School of Music at Texas Tech. The first is the University Choir. It is our auditioned mixed choir comprised mainly of our voice students, voice majors from across the School of Music, and also some graduate students in choral conducting, and we just have a great time. We rehearse every day, and it is awesome to get to be with them every day. I also get to conduct the Lubbock Choral, which is kind of it's a partnership between the Lubbock Choral Organization, which is a 501c3, and the School of Music. So we have lots of students who participate in that, probably about 30 students who participate, some who enroll in for credit, and then we also, of course, have 80 or 90 community members from all over the place who come, and we come rehearse on Tuesday nights, and the goal is to come together and laugh and have a great time.
And as I understand it, several of the students in the Lubbock Choral are there on some sort of scholarship?
Yes. So the Lubbock Choral works very hard to raise approximately $16,000 every year, to which we then contribute to the School of Music Scholarship Fund. And then the School of Music awards 16 students $1,000 to come back and participate in the Lubbock Choral with us on Tuesday night. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. These students get help in their tuition assistance, but also then come and lend their expertise to the chorale. And really the part that I love and watching is them sit right next to the community people and form friendships and laugh together with them, and then go out and hang out together outside of the chorale rehearsals as well. So that's a pretty awesome thing to watch.
Yeah, and at Texas Tech as a whole, we're talking a lot these days about outreach and engagement, and this seems like a real paradigm of that sort of thing.
I think it's the perfect example of what outreach and engagement can be in the community.
Great. Thanks, Alan. Corey?
So I also direct two choirs here at Texas Tech. Both are unauditioned ensembles that are open to any members of the community here at Texas Tech. I direct our treble ensemble here at Texas Tech, which is Scarlet Voce. It's roughly about 50 singers this semester, the majority of whom actually this semester for the very first time are non-music majors. Because we're unauditioned, we've seen enrollment over the last few semesters kind of rise to the point that the average person is not a music major, which is really, really cool. A little similar to the Lubbock Choral in that aspect, that you get to see people kind of interact with individuals who are outside of the building normally, and kind of increase our foot traffic through the School of Music in a way. And then right after Scarlet Voce every day, I rehearse our tenor bass ensemble called Matador Singers, which, like Scarlet Voce, is unauditioned and comprised, that one's a little bit more music major heavy, but is comprised of non-majors and music majors. Both choirs meet Monday, Wednesday, Friday, with Scarlet Voce meeting at 1 and then Matador Singers meeting at 2 o'clock.
Great, thank you. So I'm guessing since we're at the 2/3, 3/4 stage of the spring semester here, that there's some busy preparation for final concerts. So tell us how that's working with these various ensembles.
The concert coming up first in our spring season is actually this weekend. We are collaborating with Lubbock Symphony Orchestra in performing Carmina Burana. Lubbock Choral generally collaborates with the orchestra once a year on a choral orchestral work, and this year just happens to be Carmina Burana. And the exciting part about this is it's going to be a true partnership with the School of Music. So Lubbock Choral, of course, will sing, but also we have invited all of the choirs of Texas Tech to participate in that concert. So there will be 200 singers on the stage singing the big choral portion, and then also the West Texas Children's Chorus is singing the portions for the children's choir. And so add 25 more singers, and we'll have an orchestra of 80 and a choir of 225, and it's going to be very exciting. And we're in rehearsals all evening, every evening this week for that. So that is our biggest thing that's happening soon. And then we have 2 concerts towards the end of the semester that we will give with our what we refer to as our curricular choirs. So our 3 choirs, University Choir, Matador Singers, and Scarlet Voce, have 2 different concerts. On April 22nd is the Scarlet Voce Matador Singers concert. And what we haven't mentioned yet is we have just this semester begun work with a new choir. It's the jazz choir. It's called Cap Rock. And one of our grad students was very excited loves vocal jazz, and was very excited to be able to begin some sort of a project. And so there's an entirely student-led ensemble that will participate for the first time and sing for the first time at this concert with the Matador Singers and Scarlet Voce.
Great.
And that's on April 22nd. On April 25th is the University Choir concert. And so we'll take turns conducting those, and then it's going to be a really awesome April for choral music.
Yeah, it sounds like it, beginning and end. And I'm guessing that the listeners to 105.7 are familiar with Orff's Carmina Burana, but I will say if you haven't heard it recently even, it's a wonderful piece of music. I got to sing it a long time ago in college. My wife is actually in Lubbock Choral, so I will be thrilled to be there this weekend as well and check it out. It's a special piece of music. Now, there are some soloists. Do we know who those are?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mystery soloists.
Yeah.
You have to show up
Symphony
to find
Orchestra
out.
We'll know more tonight.
Gotcha. Okay. Wonderful. How about the contents of the concerts then? The first, I think, set of ensembles you mentioned was Scarlet Voce and Matador Singers, and then Cap Rock. What would we expect at that concert?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the vocal jazz program is set, and I don't actually know what they're singing as of right now.
I don't either.
I heard the end of a rehearsal the other day. They sound really nice. And it was a piece, I can't remember what it was, but Jeff told me, and I went, I don't know that piece, but it sounded really great.
Do we call it a piece in jazz music? Would you rather call it a tune or a chart?
Yeah, a chart would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, we can fit in with all the jazz folks. But as far as vocal jazz goes in that concert, they will be there, probably going first, and then we will have Matador Singers performing. The program is, in the past, we've done themes for this concert for Matador Singers and Scarlet Voce. This year, not as much. It's kind of a pastiche of a bunch of different things. Matador is performing a variety of different pieces, notably some works by Samuel Coleridge Taylor. This year marks 150 years since his birth. So to celebrate that occasion, Matador is doing a piece by him. So is Scarlet Voce, actually. We're also performing a new work by Texas-based composer Marcus Garrett this year called An Earth Song, which was premiered last fall, I believe at the Colorado All-State, although I could be wrong. And then we're doing a set of love songs in Matador Singers, Go Lovely Rose by Z. Randall Stroop, and She Moved Through the Fair arranged by Tim Takash. Scarlet Voce's set is a little different from that. They're doing kind of a bit of a broader spectrum of things from all over the place. We'll start the concert with Litanies à la Vierge Noire by Poulenc, which was written, I think, in 1936. Poulenc had just kind of come back to religion. One of his very dear friends had died. So in the process of becoming religious and thinking about his friend's death, he had prayed to a shrine of a black statue of the Virgin Mary in Rocamadour, France. And that caused the generation of this piece, which is for 3-part treble chorus and organ. So we'll be featuring one of the graduate students, Miri Park, on the organ for this concert, which is going to be really exciting. We're also doing Joanne Metcalf's arrangement of Psycholos, which is a text from that actually U Choir just performed in the spring of last year, although this is a setting by a different composer. It is one of the earliest complete written pieces of music that we know of, written roughly first, second century AD. And this is set for treble choir. And then we're doing kind of a variety of other things by composers, including Tracy Wong, Zanita Robles. So yeah, it really is a bit of everything on that concert between all 3 choirs. So if you like eclectic music, I would say that's the concert for you on April 22nd.
Great, and I think that may be, many again in this audience will know that Hemley Recital Hall is recently refurbished, and boy, if you haven't been in that new space, you really owe it to yourself to check it out. It's wonderful. But the Holtkamp organ in that space, obviously, as you'd expect, took on a little bit of dirt, wear and tear during that construction process, and we've kind of just gotten it back up to speed, so to speak, now. So I think this may be one of the first opportunities to hear it incorporated back into an ensemble concert in Hemley. So that'll be very exciting.
Absolutely. I mean, I think about it every day, how excited I am to get in there and hear that space and hear that instrument work.
Yeah, I am of the opinion that organ, even though it's been on the Texas Tech campus for over 30 years, it will sound better now than it has ever sounded before because it's in a proper hall or a well-tuned hall. So I'm very excited for the life of that instrument going forward. Alan, did you want to talk about the programming of the U Choir concert at the end?
Yeah, I'm very excited to talk about our concert on April 25th. We're entitling it, "I'm Going to Sing Till the Spirit Moves in My Heart." And that title is based on Moses Hogan's song of that title. And interestingly, it's a song written in an African-American spiritual style, but it is an original composition of Moses Hogan. One of his few original compositions. As of course everyone knows, he's was a prolific arranger of the spiritual. And the concert is a concert of entirely sacred music. And something that I've done, I did about 6 years ago here at Texas Tech, and the approach to the concert is one that is more of sacred music as art instead of as a religious experience. So if you imagine, if you're not a religious person, but you go to St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, and you look at all that beautiful art that is all religiously based, but you get to see it from artist lens rather than specifically through a spiritual lens. And that's kind of how we're approaching this music. And I'm really excited because we're featuring music of all different styles. So we've got a few more of Moses Hogan's arrangements, Didn't My Lord Deliver Daniel, and This Little Light of Mine, which are two of my favorites. And we're also doing a couple of gospel pieces, gospel songs by our typical choral arrangers of gospel music. So Jeffrey Ames and Keith, I forget his name. Keith Hampton, good old Keith Hampton. And those will feature some soloists, of course, and Jared Tazy is playing the piano, and so he'll break it down with the gospel stuff. And then we're doing some historical pieces, so one by Palestrina, we're doing one by Purcell, we are doing an awesome piece called Crucifixion by Adolphus Hailstork. And if you haven't heard Hailstork's music, it is exciting, and this one in particular. And we are exploring all of the range of all of the voices throughout all these compositions. So we've got some low E-flats and D-flats and some high Ds in the sopranos. And so we're exploring not just a wide range of musical styles, but also of vocal colors and ranges as well. And the concert will feature a couple of our graduate conductors, Mike Mills and Jeff Hunt will conduct a few of these pieces. And really it's the design to just bring everybody on a journey through time, really, and where music has gone and how it has influenced each other. And I'm really excited for the concert.
Great, thank you. That sounds like a very full program, very exciting program. And I'm kind of inferring from what you're saying that as both of you are programming for your respective ensembles and thinking about the audience experience, right? Maybe putting a theme in and that sort of thing. I imagine you're also conscious of the students in the choirs, many of whom go on to be choir directors at the high school or middle school or college level. In the case of our graduate students, I think we have a very good track record of placing those students in jobs around the country. What do you think about as you're preparing repertoire with an ensemble, knowing that these students are going to have to go out and do this themselves in maybe the not too distant future?
Yeah, we of course both conductors, but there's not been a time in my life where I haven't thought of myself as solely a conductor. I've always thought of myself as a music educator. And one of the things I love about Texas Tech and the Texas Tech School of Music is that we are trainers of future musicians, both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. And so everything that I do in preparation for rehearsals or in selection of repertoire is through that lens. And so, for example, we will sing Bach and I will program Bach so that the students have experience with Bach, both the music itself, but how to sing it, performance practice, stylistic components of it, and also vocal technique things, and then watch, hopefully, me in an effective way, do those, teach those things to the ensemble, so then they can take that and use that experience.
Yeah, and if I can touch off that for a second, I'm kind of in a unique place in that I get to see how these music educators are their learning and their teaching is informed by what they learn in their ensembles. And what Alan said is absolutely true. I see them regularly either do something implicitly that they learned in choir or that they observed in choir, or even explicitly. To the point that I even had a student in vocal pedagogy for music educators the other day say, oh, Dr. Zabriskie did this thing in choir, and the reason he did that, I think, is to get us to sound this way. And to watch them kind of as the sand clears from their eyes and they start to make more observations, going through these choir classrooms, it really reinforces each other to a really great extent.
And hopefully they're only emulating the good things that they see.
That's what they're telling me. But no, it really does. And it works both ways. And like Dr. Zabriskie, I, of course, also am trying to program things with a mind to, okay, what are my students getting out of this experience? Ranging from stuff that is really, really difficult to stuff that's really, really approachable for my non-music majors who are in that room. But all of it kind of taught in a way that fosters these young educators' perspective on their career and how they can go forward and apply the lessons they've learned explicitly in our classrooms, but also in our choirs as they enter the career. So it's really fun to watch it pay off.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So it keeps you coming back to work every day, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, Drs. Corey Sullivan and Alan Zabriskie, I want to thank you so much for being with us today, and we look forward to seeing you in front of choirs in the next few weeks here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
The Art Beat, a weekly program putting you in touch with artists and arts events from the J.T. and Margaret Talkington College of Visual and Performing Arts at Texas Tech University.